So, Congresswoman Johnson, this is a big day. I know you've been strong advocating to end this war and the suffering of the Gazan people. What's your reaction to this news today?
We have a ceasefire. I know for the Israeli people and the families of Israel to finally have their loved ones returned has got to be a huge relief. And at least, while I would have loved for the release to be tomorrow, at least those families have a timeline that they can hopefully count on. And to the Palestinian people and the people of Gaza, the suffering has to end. And I'm sure that I hope that they are hopeful that they finally have an end to the hell that they've been in and some light at the end of the tunnel as well.
You know, we've been on the air for hours now. Congresswoman, as you know, it was first President-elect Donald Trump that immediately put out on Truth Social, epic deal. We made it happen. The Prime Minister of Qatar held this press conference acknowledging that Steve Witkoff, President-elect Trump's Middle East envoy, was in the room helping to make this happen. At the same time, after all of that, we did see the president finally come to the mic at the White House saying, this was my framework, my deal that I introduced months ago. I brought the new administration into this. Is this a situation where we should acknowledge who's responsible, who's not responsible?
Maybe both.
Or maybe both. Or do we just move on and say, okay, let's talk about this deal. This is what we know so far. Let's get these hostages home and let's get peace in the Middle East. Or is it important right now to talk about politics in this new administration that's about to come in 5 days and that, you know, this is a really big deal, 5 days before inauguration?
You know, I think it's a little bit of both, right? This is not children on the playground trying to claim credit for something. You know, this is a significant diplomatic achievement that the Biden administration has been working on extensively. This is the core framework that they introduced back in May and has been nonstop pressured by our Secretary of State and National Security Advisor and other diplomatic teams. Having said that, it was absolutely responsible for the president to bring in the Trump team, and they're the ones that are going to have to fulfill this agreement and ensure that Israel and Hamas both comply. And so, of course, it's responsible government, and that is what we need. We need both parties to be working together to present a united front for the interests of the United States and our strong allies and those in Israel and others. And so, you know, to say who gets credit, that's really immaterial. The point that matters is a huge diplomatic achievement was achieved while President Biden was president, and now President Trump is going to have to fulfill this agreement and ensure that both parties comply. As a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I look forward to working with the Trump administration to effectuate this deal and to make sure that these families are returned, these hostages are returned, and hopefully we can build a peace process, because that is what we all want.
All right, so on the House Foreign Affairs Committee where you serve, are you at all worried that this deal could fall apart? We've heard over and over and over again during the course of this agonizing war, oh, they're real close, and this deal is phased in. The critical phase is coming later. How confident are you that they'll be able to carry this through to an actual end to this war and to the return of the hostages?
Really? I mean, I think Israel, you know, has a strong desire for the return of the hostages and the remains of those that are deceased and for lasting peace. The people of Gaza have had enormous suffering, and they are desperate for an end to this nightmare as well. So it seems that, you know, both sides are in a place where upholding and fulfilling this ceasefire and this peace agreement is in their mutual best interest. And when that is the case, hopefully it will manifest ultimately into a final deal. Obviously, the devil is in the details. We have the next several weeks to see a final written agreement and to see the terms of that agreement and how they're implemented. And we'll all be looking at that very closely. But I'm very hopeful that this deal will hold.
All right, well, Congresswoman, how will lawmakers on the Hill now work together just to ensure that this will hold? Because things in 5 days things are changing. And of course, I think no one will argue that they want to see anyone break this truce. The Qatar Prime Minister, or the Qatari Prime Minister, saying that there will be a process in place to anyone who does break this truce, but we still don't exactly know who or what that will be.
Well, I think, there is some continuity. I mean, the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Republicans have been in charge. They're going to stay in charge. Most of the body of the members of the Foreign Affairs Committee are the same from the previous Congress and going into the next Congress. There are some new members like myself that will certainly bring our own perspective to the table, but I think there'll be some continuity. There's no doubt that in the United States Congress, we really stand with our allies, and Israel is a significant ally of the United States Congress and the United States as a whole. But we also have great sympathy for the people of Gaza, and we really want this ended. And it's in the U.S. national interest for this war to end. So I do think that the Congress will come together, will unite in an oversight and a position to do whatever we can do as a country to make sure to incentivize both sides of this agreement to fulfill the terms, keep proceeding down the path of peace, and hopefully finally bring some peace to this area.